So you've decided to learn Spanish on your own. That's great. But where should you start? And how can you accelerate your learning to start speaking as soon as possible? I'm not only going to share with you the secret to learning Spanish fast on your own, I'm going to break it down for you in 5 simple steps. Welcome to Sharp Spanish. Let's begin. Step number 1. Learn how to properly pronounce the sounds of the language. This step is key, so don't skip it. Why? Because this will accelerate your learning, plain and simple. Knowing the sounds will make you more confident when you encounter new words. It will also lessen the number of misspoken words you say, which means less time spent on relearning words you already know but were saying incorrectly. And that right there is a time saver. Keep in mind, we are not aiming for perfection here, but you should get comfortable enough knowing which combinations make the different sounds of the Spanish language. The big question you may have here is, how do I achieve this? I have created the ultimate Spanish pronunciation guide to make this step easy for you, so make sure to check it out. Once you have a good understanding of which letter combinations make the different sounds, move on to listening to vocabulary lists, but not to learn them, but to practice your listening skills and for you to start mimicking the sounds you hear. Don't worry about memorizing any of the words. All you want to do is to practice the sounds. Pro tip: record yourself on your phone and play it back after the original audio so you can hear what tweaks you need to apply to your pronunciation. This right here will accelerate your learning and speaking skills exponentially. Step number 2. Give yourself the greatest advantage a beginner can have and learn how to make basic sentences. Once you have a good grip on the Spanish sounds, it's time to learn the basic sentence structure of the Spanish language. Bear in mind, we are not talking about full-on studying of the grammar rules, because, like any language, there are too many and they can be complex and full of exceptions. Instead, think about internalizing basic, simple patterns that you can repurpose to talk about different things with 1 or 2 tweaks. You may be wondering, why would you want to do this instead of heading straight to learning all of the grammar rules? Because learning and using these patterns instead will get you speaking much faster, even if at a very basic level, and that is gold when trying to become fluent in any language. How can you learn how to make basic sentences? I have 2 videos for you. The first is the 5 essential verbs you must master, which contains some of these useful basic patterns I've been speaking about. The second will teach you the basics of the Spanish grammar that will get you to make your first phrases in Spanish. Step number 3. You must understand the verb to be in Spanish. This is a key milestone in your journey to speak in Spanish, as it is the foundation of the language and the backbone of many tenses. You will gain so much ground by getting a good grasp on how and when to use the verbo ser or the verbo estar. To help you achieve this step, check out my video on the verbo ser versus verbo estar to learn about them, to understand how they work, and when to use one or the other, because, oh boy, they can be tricky. There is also a companion video so you can start practicing right away. Step number 4. Learn and practice useful everyday phrases with key verbs. It's still all about leveraging the knowledge you gain early on to build momentum. You want to get speaking as soon as possible. Focus on learning the kind of phrases that you can easily adjust to reuse them to have a basic conversation. Which ones are those, you may ask? We are talking about 2 kinds: phrases that allow you to talk about yourself, and phrases with which you can ask for things. Why these? At the most basic level, you will want to be able to share who you are, what you do, and what you like. And so you should focus on learning phrases that will allow you to introduce yourself and have a chat with someone for a few minutes. You will also have to ask someone at some point for something, from ordering a coffee to requesting some kind of information. So you should aim to learn how to do this early on. Stay tuned for upcoming content on useful everyday phrases. Step number 5. Learn in bulk. How many people study a language for years in a formal educational setting, like school or college, and are not able to actually speak the language? From my personal experience, too many. I have been one of them. I know that learning the grammar rules and acing the tests do not automatically get you speaking a language. Languages are fluid and ever evolving. People don't always have conversations like the ones in textbooks. There are expressions and slang that are not usually taught at school. Diving into learning by heart specific pieces of the language, like conjugation tables or lists of vocabulary, won't get you started speaking Spanish fast. So, what should you do? Once you learn the basics, like the sounds and the bones of the grammatical structure, aim to learn in bulk. But what does that mean? It means that if you have just learned a pattern, practice it using the vocabulary you have learned the day before, or look up all the meanings of the verb. This way of learning is more natural, and it will get you to make stronger connections between the different areas of the Spanish language, reinforcing what you've learned before with new context or patterns. It is simply a smarter way to getting to fluency faster. To make the beginning of your Spanish learning journey as easy as possible, check out the videos I have put together to support you through it. They'll guide you from steps 1 to 3 so far. You don't want to miss the additional content coming soon, so make sure to subscribe. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I'll see you in the next one. Hasta luego.